Welcome back to Dead Ball TV, guys. This is the part two of the mini series, the biggest surprises and disappointments from the Asian Cup group stage. If you have not seen part one, the biggest surprises, go check that out on the channel. Before we get started, make sure you check out the social media links for my guests here today, Shauyon and Michael Talks Football. Links in the description. Finished surprises. We got the positivity out of the way. Now we're going to get to the negativity. Biggest disappointments. Michael, you were especially itchy to get to this segment, so why don't you give us your first disappointment from the Asian Cup
Uh,
group stage?
to me, this guy is easily the biggest disappointment. Zion Suzuki. He is
Mm.
been horrifically bad. Okay, you have great distribution with the ball. You can ping a pass from 40 yards out straight to the Ito or Kubo, one of these guys. What I want from my goalkeeper is to prevent a goal. And easily 3 or 4 goals in this group stage is because of him. I don't want to single him out because I don't really like to do that with footballers, but when you're a goalkeeper, it's going to be more apparent. That goal he conceded against Indonesia near post, that wasn't even a hard shot. Like you could just see the guy when it comes to shot stopping right now has no confidence. And Moriyasu is going to die on this hill. Moriyasu said, I'm going to bring 2 other guys who have a combined 2 appearances in the Japanese
Mhm.
national team. So Suzuki is in a really difficult position that he's placed himself and the manager Moriyasu has placed on him where you have all this expectation. You have to move to Belgium. I think he's on loan there actually. You're linked to Man United. You're very highly rated goalkeeper. I'm going to put you now in the limelight, starting goalkeeper for Japan, and we're going to win the Asian Cup. But he has not risen to the occasion. And I wonder if he, as a liability, is going to cost Japan further into this tournament, where maybe if they had a more experienced goalkeeper, they could win this Asian Cup. But right now, I think he's been my biggest disappointment, as a player at least.
Fingers crossed he keeps it up till the quarterfinals.
Okay. I have two players I think who are a bigger disappointment, but to talk about Suzuki, I think he's been disappointing, but I think he got super overrated as soon as the Man U links happened, dude. I don't think he's ever been that good. He had a great showing at the U20s or the U23 Asian Cup. I think it was the U20s that he was at.
U20s.
But like he's still disappointed for sure. But anybody who thought that he was gonna displace, like, I don't know, David De Gea or some, I mean, you were smoking some ganj because
No, no.
he's not been that guy. He's flashed potential, but I will agree with you. It's been shocking how bad he's looked and the quality of goals that he's let in. Like, I know Japan, I think they 8-5. I think three, you have to say, are undoubtedly his fault, which is not a good ratio and not good when knockout football is right around the corner. What about you, Sean? You've been disappointed with Suzuki, or did you have some magical
No, dude,
prediction
Suzuki's
3
my
weeks
savior.
ago?
Suzuki's my savior. Keep him in goal. Keep him in goal till the quarterfinals. That guy's an absolute God's given gift. Okay. So I don't want to hear none of this slander. Suzuki, keep him on board. That guy's an absolute trooper. But no, actually, I have a different disappointment because you guys
Okay.
want to keep you
Okay.
keep wanting to take down my guy who's clearly should be the number one till the quarterfinals. But I'm gonna go with Oman because I had them
Mm.
as my dark horses, and they easily could have advanced in a third place spot, choked it in the final game. I had such good expectations for them. They were a team in Asian qualifying that were so good that I thought, okay, they can do it in this Asia Cup. They can make their names known. They can make like a half decent run, maybe a quarterfinal finish. But no, they only got 2 points. Like, no, it was like it wasn't bad up to the third game, but you put too much pressure on yourselves to have to win the third match. And so for me, that's my big number one disappointment because so far for my predictions, that's the big one for my superlatives video. That's the big one that has not come to fruition.
I think they goofed it against Thailand. They played it too safe. I think that's what let them down. Michael, any
Mhm.
thoughts on Oman?
Yeah. I mean, they have an experienced team in Ivankovic who's probably going to get sacked or resign after this Asian Cup because you expect, with Thailand in turmoil and Kyrgyzstan, who are average team, you expect Oman to at least get second in the group. And they showed promise against Saudi Arabia. I was like, okay, cool. Oman going toe to toe. They conceded a late goal. Maybe they can win the next 2 games. Instead, they went too passive and said, okay, we can just coast through during this group stage and we'll advance. You can't do that if you're Oman. The lack of firepower that's kind of been evident for them during World Cup qualifiers and Asian qualifiers, it kind of showed. Very good defensive team, organized,
Mhm.
lacking any threat, and it was even more evident because wow, they should have at least finished second in that group. Finished
That's what I'm
third
saying.
behind Thailand.
Third,
No.
but it's not even like a respectable third. It was a laughable third place finish. Like
Yeah.
that's what annoyed
Mm.
me so much because I was looking at the groups, I was following their games because obviously I'm gonna follow the teams that I banked my buck on the internet, and I was like, oh man, don't disappoint me. This last game, it's all or nothing. They were the one team that had to mess it up. It makes me mad, but it's nonetheless, yeah, they're by far my biggest disappointment.
Yeah. Okay. That's a great nomination. I remember also the fact that they goofed it against Kyrgyzstan,
That's what I'm
who
saying, bro.
bro, they had like 3 suspensions or something. They got nothing to play for. One of the worst teams at the Asian Cup, in my opinion. I mean, disgraceful display against Thailand in the first game,
And they were
and then
winning.
just
They were
yeah,
winning.
and they were winning. And Oman, the team that you think when they have a 1-0 lead, they're just gonna lock it down, couldn't even do that. They let Kojo, who I'm sorry, he's a fraud, score a goal and equalize. I'm
Mm.
sorry, the man's a
He's an
fraud.
Indonesian savior, is what Kojo is.
He is. Build him a statue in Jakarta. I will stand on that. But he's a fraud. Right next to Philippe Trossier. What I lost my train of thought here. And then when they had to go for it at the end against Kyrgyzstan, they had some really good chances. And I was kind of thinking, why didn't you guys do this against Thailand?
Or why
You
didn't you
could
guys
have
just
gotten
do
a
this
goal.
from the get-go to bury the
Yep.
game? Yeah, it's
Yep.
so dumb.
Exactly. Yeah. Massive L to Oman. I'm gonna take another player as a biggest disappointment
Damn, you guys are
from a team we've
targeting
already
people.
talked about. We are. And that's Takefusa Kubo, bro. I've been mad disappointed in this guy because he should be. He has the talent. First off, he's probably in La Liga team of the season right now. He's got the individual talent to be putting up performances like we've seen from Iganyin, but it hasn't been there. Dude, his touch is rough. He's getting bullied off the ball. He's getting nutmegged. Not really. He's creating chances, but not at the volume that you would expect, especially when you're playing Indonesia and Vietnam. Like, you need to be feasting. If you're a player of Kubo's caliber, I expect you to be chopping up. And he
Quick
hasn't.
question. Do you think that's due to how like Moriyasu's tactics, or do you think that's due to uh, just him being? I mean, it could be a combination of both. That's all I'm just gonna say.
I mean, people will say I've seen the Japanese sympathizers. They'll say, "Oh, he's not 100% fit," or they'll be like, "Oh, he played centrally against Iraq, and that's not his thing." Well, he wasn't central against Indonesia. Did nothing. Igangin's also not 100% fit. Dude's arguably best player of the tournament so far. Like, I don't want to hear the excuses with Kubo. Your team's struggling. If you're that good, if you are him, step up. I haven't seen it yet. Any thoughts on Kubo?
It's a tough one because he didn't start the first game either, and then he goes into Iraq, who we saw are a very good defensive side, who gave no space to any Japanese attacker. So I would kind of put all the Japanese attackers as disappointments because they really should have stepped up and shown their quality. They haven't, and obviously Kubo, the guy is so talented. We've seen in Real Sociedad, we've seen countless times before in the Asian Cup and well, not the Asian Cup, excuse me, Japanese national team. He's talented. He can change a game. He hasn't been able to change a game yet. Now, in the knockout stage, he must rise to the occasion. If Lee
He
Kong-in is
must
getting through,
Yeah.
change the game against Bahrain, and then flop in the game against Iran. Exactly. Now we're cooking something.
there we go.
You gonna
But yeah,
start now? I'm gonna start praying on Iran's downfall.
No, 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 no,
One more
no.
comment like that, I'm
That's
praying on Iran's downfall, bro.
I'm
but yeah,
just
Kubo,
Okay,
going
sorry,
off of
Kubo needs
what
to
you
Michael.
step
guys
up.
are saying. That's all.
No, you're good.
Finish your Kubo thought.
Yeah, no, Kubo just needs to step up big time. If he doesn't, you got to think to yourself, is he really that good then? Is he going to be, because he's obviously Japan's future, is he going to be the guy who in 5 years can really lead Japan to what we expect of this Japanese national team, semifinal of a World Cup, a quarterfinal of a World Cup? Can he be that guy? We're going to find out in the knockout stage of the Asian Cup.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree with you a little bit. I'm not gonna allow you to nominate the entire Japanese attack because I think Ueda's been good. I think
Yeah.
Keito Nakamura's been good, and I think Junya Ito's been good. But Takumi Asano, what a fraud. Like, I am so sick of this man trying to act like he's a good footballer. Ritsu Doan should have had a hat trick of assists against Indonesia if he wasn't selfish. And Kubo, I am disappointed in him.
I was gonna say he's definitely living off of his one World Cup goal against Germany.
Bro. Thank you for your service, but I just need you to just check the ego at the door a little bit. Leave it in the locker room is what I would say to those two gentlemen. Michael, you have another disappointment?
I mean, do I count just China as a disappointment?
Dude, no. After all the praise we just gave them,
I mean, at least like, can you at least give me one goal? I mean, just one. I don't care if it's a penalty, a
but
free
2
kick,
clean sheets, 2, not
two
1,
clean.
2.
I just need one goal against Lebanon and a debutant in Tajikistan. I think this is sort of a bigger picture of Chinese football. They're screwed. They're absolutely screwed. The
Hmm.
league is terrible. The national team has
Hmm.
been failing for the last couple of years. Back in the early 2000s, China was actually like a top 5 team in Asia. They made it to the final of their own Asian Cup. I think it was 2004. But to
Hmm.
now, I mean, they didn't score a nada. A goose egg in 3 straight games, and we saw Lebanon. Not a very good attacking side. Okay, decent defensively. Tajikistan give you space, and you couldn't exploit that. Last 20 minutes, I remember you were watching the game as well, Jake. Last 20 minutes, once they started attacking, they almost scored a goal, which should have been a goal, by the way. They should have that actually should have
Yeah.
been a goal. But overall, I mean, China's attack is easily the worst attack I have seen in the AFCON and Asian Cup. Easily. I don't even think it would be the
Hmm.
best attack in the OFC Nations Cup. That's how bad it is. So they got to,
Hmm.
I don't even know if there's any youngsters in the league where I'm like, oh yeah, China, promising future. They're in for a rough time ahead.
I have to say, I think India's
Oh,
attack
goodness.
is worse.
I was gonna say that was crazy takes, Michael. God
No, but
damn.
no. I actually don't think. I don't think it was that crazy of a take. It's
No, but you
bottom
have to.
three.
But look at India, who they went up against. They went up against Uzbekistan and Australia, tough opponent. You're going up
Correct.
against Lebanon and Tajikistan and Qatar.
Hmm.
Do we think Qatar are really good defensively?
I mean, the
No,
thing is, they actually had
No.
a good game against Qatar. That's the crazy part. They
but
actually,
they didn't score a goal. So I
I
don't.
know that was
All I
the
Yeah.
see, all I see on the phone, a notification says 0-0, and you didn't score a goal. Well, Qatar scored one,
Hmm.
but yeah, another goose egg.
Hmm. Yeah. I would say Chinese midfield plus attack, massive L. And am I disappointed? I don't know if they're a disappointment. I'm not emotionally, personally disappointed because I'm not really rooting for the Chinese national team, but massive L for all those gentlemen. Wu Lei needs to retire, and their center forward might be, outside of the fraud for Iran, the worst center forward at the tournament.
at least if you're gonna
The
say him, at least get his name right.
well, I don't know his name.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know his respect is earned, and after that display against Hong Kong, I
I
don't know
guess
about that, bro. But
no name
yeah,
given.
dude, the Chinese Choge song is just terrible. I mean, if that's the guy who needs to score for you, you're gonna go out in the group stage, and that's exactly what happened. Sean, you got another disappointment?
Could we say Vietnam?
If you're a hater,
Yeah, if you're a
if you're
hater.
a hater, you could say, dude. Bro, with Philippe
'Cause we-
Trossier as the manager, I don't know. I didn't expect.
I mean,
much.
I didn't have high expectations, but how the Vietnamese were talking about themselves, like I thought they might have gone a point. Like, okay, come on, the game against Indonesia, they do have to do better. Like,
They do.
Yeah.
They do. And that penalty they gave away was horrendous.
yeah,
Now that first half was
Horrendous.
horrendous by them. They didn't even try and attack. Indonesia
Mhm.
dominated them easily in that first half. Vietnam didn't even
Mhm.
try. They thought to themselves, it's cool, Indonesia, little bro. And then they got big broed by Indonesia to Vietnam. So yeah, Vietnam, I wouldn't really say they're disappointment though, because I don't really have high expectations. With all the injuries they had, I mean, they had 6 starters gone. I mean, all of them, they just started falling down with the injuries. So I think
there's
it's a
been
bit
a lot of
harsh.
injuries at this tournament, honestly, which
Yeah.
which is a little
Yeah.
concerning.
A lot heading into it. I had Vietnam with 1 point, so I'm not
Okay.
disappointed. I don't rate Trossier at all. I mean, Bach Din looked good. That's really all we can say.
Then I
all
would
right.
go with South Korea. Then there you go.
Definitely disappointing. I just had, let's just group it together. I said the East Asian Giants. Disappointment.
Yeah.
11 goals conceded in 6 games? Are you shitting me? And 3 of those 6 games were against Vietnam, Indonesia, and Malaysia. Inexcusable. Inexcusable. With all due respect, that can't happen.
Now, how South Korea conceded 3 goals to Malaysia, and this is no disrespect to Malaysians, by the way. You had a great game. That is inexcusable to the highest order. 3 goal, the last
know.
minute goal in the 105th minute can never happen. Kim Min Jae has to do a lot better in that situation. He
I
just
was gonna
stands
say-
off
Yep.
and allows the shot
Yeah.
in. It was terrible from South Korea defensively. And I think overall, you just see the team. Okay, I say it's also coaching because, well, Klinsmann, we already knew it was a fraud before this Asian Cup. But the defensive setup
Yep.
they have, the space that there's between the midfielders and defense, it's laughable. It's so laughable. And for Japan, I think their biggest problem is they don't know how to deal with crosses. Any set pieces, they look vulnerable. So it's going to be fascinating to see how they deal with it in the knockout stage. But yeah, big disappointments.
5 goals. All 5 goals from Japan crosses. Crosses
Really,
or set pieces.
Oh,
really,
really?
all of
I
them.
didn't
All
know
5.
that.
All 5. 2 against Vietnam. The 2 Iraq goals were both crosses from the left side, Sugawara side, who I think he's getting left on an island. And then the, last minute set piece in Indonesia. They're all aerial balls.
So do you guys think with obviously South Korea and Japan, do you think it's more of a setup of the defenses or that they're just naive and they don't really rate these teams? Do you think they're just taking it too easy?
I don't know. That's a good point. That's a good
Great
question.
question.
Yeah.
I would say tactically Korea is getting more exposed than Japan. I think Japan got punched in the mouth against Iraq and then had to chase a game against a very difficult opponent who I think will make the semifinals. I think South Korea, you've had 3 games in a row where Hwangbaum and Park Young, I think it's Park Woo Young, are basically left alone on an island in the middle of the pitch and they're just getting bullied. To me, it's more of an issue with Korea tactically. Japan, I think it is definitely still tactics, but again, look at the goals. Look at the goals with Japan, and a lot of the times you can say like individual error. I'm not trying to say Japan have been amazing outside of that, but I think the problem is is different. I think it's systemic with Korea. I think it's just arrogance and lack of quality
I was gonna
with
say
Japan.
too, something that you've always preached, Jack, that I'm totally on board with is kind of with Moriyasu just underplaying against teams. Again, because I know they won 2, but like the Iraq game, like they should be winning it. But when they play an opponent that's below them, but obviously has some talent, again, like a Costa Rica at the World Cup, for example, that's the one I always go back to. They
Mhm.
always just seem to fumble and overplaying it. I mean, overthinking it, not putting out the right lineup. I don't know what it is, but there's that too with Japan. But I agree with the South Korea. The tactics, just the golden generation of South Korean football in the mud because of Klinsmann.
You hate to see it.
Yeah, I
Well,
know.
maybe you like to see it, Shauyon, but
No,
I
no, I
hate to see
don't.
it.
Dude, I'm banking on them to win it. That's who I predicted.
You're praying East Asia falls. It's
No,
okay.
bro, you're putting words in my mouth. That's so not
We all
true.
know. We all know. Let's. I got it. I got one. Speaking of a giant, I have to say I am so disappointed with Australia's offense. It
Oh.
is specifically the goal scoring. It is shocking.
No
These
Lecky,
guys,
no party.
no Lecky, no. I knew he was. I knew he was it, right? But not to this degree. On one hand, it's Australian ball, it's Graham Arnold ball, it's ugly but effective. But on the other hand, it's like, bro, you need to be scoring some goals because once you start going to be up against better teams in the knockouts, Australia could be in trouble here. Thinking about the Syria game, like I don't know if you guys watched that, but they got kind of lucky
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
to
Syria
Syria
not
seems
draw
host.
like
that as well.
yeah, Syria kind of seemed like a low key dark horse. I mean, they played well against Uzbekistan as well. They got their one win they needed to. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe Syria's not too bad, which kind of scares me.
Michael, any thoughts on Australia? They looking a better, worse, or about the same as you predicted?
Uh,
With the ball going forward, trying to score.
I'm not shocked to be honest. I think people just got to accept it with Graham Arnold ball and the talent they have in the attacking phase. They just don't have see because everybody assumes that Australia has the talent like Tim Cahill, Mark Viduka, and these guys that they had in the past during the golden generation of Australia. Now they got Martin Boyle, like decent players. They're all Scottish Premier League players. They're decent players. They're not Lee Kungin. They're not Son. They're not any of these guys. They don't have the quality. Jackson Irvine might as well just play striker because he's getting all the goals for them
Mhm.
at this rate. So I think they have a lot of good future players coming through. They're not at this tournament like Irakunda, who just made the move to Bayern Munich. Like that guy is going to be sensational. We'll see him at the next Asian Cup. But this talent pool, they're going to 1-0 way to this Asian Cup. If they're going to win this Asian Cup, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. Just like
Who
they
did
did
they
at the World
play?
Cup. They beat 1-0 Tunisia and Denmark.
Yeah, that's
If
how
you
they
think that
advanced.
that's how
Yeah.
they advance, they're not going to outscore teams. So this is Graham Arnold ball, and you have to accept it. And it's the talent pool they have right now.
I think in the game against Indonesia, they'll get 2. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt here.
They need to. They really, really need to. But dude, I'm looking at it. Let me
Michael's
bust out
thinking
the
about
stats. I
it.
don't think I've referenced any stats. Dude, I think they'll get 2.
I-
I do think they'll get 2. Bro, they're 17th in shots on target the Asian Cup, 2.7 per game, which is tied with Hong Kong, Malaysia, and less than Vietnam. Like, that is inexcusable.
It
Damn.
is what it is. But they're through. They're through.
They are through, and I hear what you're saying, Michael, about like they're 1-0 merchants, but that's because they're the massive underdog at the World Cup. I thought with the amount of possession that they've had, and I think they're like 3rd in possession or something, like, or maybe 5th, something like that. You would just think with that, the amount of their first and crosses, the amount of chances they're creating, you'd think that they would just have I don't know, a 2-3-0 win somewhere. Can we get that? Could you score twice against Syria? No, you need a phantom penalty against Uzbekistan to draw the game. Like, it has been shocking. And I don't know. Maybe they got to drop Mitchell Duke, keep that Youngie kid. I thought he looked, I don't know if he's a kid, actually, he might be old, but I thought he looked pretty good against Uzbekistan. I don't know what the answers are there, but concerned for the Socceroos a little bit. Y'all, anybody else got any more disappointments before we wrap up?
I was gonna maybe say Saudi's attack as well, because yeah, they got 2 goals against Oman. I mean, 2 goals against a 9-man Kyrgyzstan. I'm not gonna too much into that. And then they played a complete B team of Thailand. Thailand rested all their players, and they couldn't score 1 goal. They missed a penalty. I'm really sort of concerned about Saudi Arabia going forward. Midfield and defense, I'm good with Saudi Arabia. The attack, that has been a big disappointment. Really, like Salim Al Dosari has been average, so
Dude,
average at
I've
this
always
Asian Cup.
thought that guy's overrated.
Nah,
He,
he's good. I
nah,
actually
nah,
thought he was
nah,
pretty good at
nah,
the last Asian Cup as well. This Asian Cup, he's
nah.
actually had a good season with Al Hilal. This Asian Cup, nah, it's not been good enough.
He's an Argentina goal merchant because of that 1 goal against Argentina.
I didn't have Saudi Arabia on my biggest disappointments. I just had Al Dasari. He's been outplayed by his little brother.
The thing is, for me, I didn't have any.
Yes.
I watched Jack's video
That's true.
where he kind of enlightened us about Saudi Arabia because they're statistically one of the bigger nations that always disappoint in this competition. So I didn't think it was going to be anything special from them. I also thought the Mancini project, it wasn't going to start kicking in this tournament. So I just didn't really. I mean, I think they just did what I kind of expected. They kind of shithoused their wins. They finished top of their group. I think they
Yeah.
lose against South Korea, but that's you'd have to watch my video for that. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. I'm going with the Koreans too. Michael, who you got in that matchup? And then we'll end it.
You'll have to see what I said on my video because
Oh my god!
because
Click the link in the
I might have gone
description.
for an upset.
Wow. He's leaving us
Okay.
on a
Okay.
cliffhanger.
He is. No, that dude, that's a good content creator right there. That's somebody
Yeah.
he's funneling the viewers back to his channel. I think that's the intelligent thing to do. Guys, we're gonna go ahead and end the video there. If there's a biggest disappointment from the Asian Cup group stage that we forgot, let us know in the comments. Again, please check out the channels for Shauyon and Michael in the description of this video, and also make sure you follow Deadball TV on Twitter. The link is also in the description, so you know about the live streams we're doing for the knockout rounds. All right, guys, I appreciate you jumping on. We appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.